now to weigh in again is Congressman Byron Donalds himself. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thanks for being here today.
Good to be with you.
Congressman, this has been one issue that seems to have united Justin Amash, John Bolton, and Donald Trump supporters, and that they're very critical of this indictment and see it as political theater. Why are so many, even Democrats like Andrew McCabe, said he saw no legal theory basis for these 34 counts? Is it just that they literally can't support it because it's so egregious?
If you just look at the indictment, it's incredibly ridiculous. Alvin Bragg doesn't even cite the actual federal crime he's tying these bookmaking charges to, because there is no federal crime, because no federal prosecutor brought a crime. The FEC said there's nothing to see here. Everybody who has looked at this, who doesn't have an axe to grind or just isn't in the mode of wanting to get Donald Trump, says that it is ridiculous, it's foolishness, and unfortunately, it's really destructive of the country. And that's why I think you have so many people who are willing to speak out on this, because this isn't about whether you love Trump or you hate Trump. This is about the rule of law and a standard in the United States where we do not go after political opponents. And look, and unfortunately, you have to say this next piece. Nobody's above the law, nobody. But you actually have to demonstrate a crime that was committed. And Alvin Bragg has not done that. We knew he didn't do it. The media leaks were coming through. Media said, oh, wait for the indictment. Well, the indictment's come out, and it now proves what we all knew. This is hot garbage from a radical DA backed by George Soros, whose one of his primary missions was to get Donald Trump. And then his secondary mission is to leave the people of New York less safe in their streets, because he won't prosecute actual violent, felonious crime.
And that's what I want to get to, because a lot of people, Donald Trump is a prolific figure, but you have to ask, what does this mean for average Americans across the country? And I think that point about a Soros-backed DA, there are Soros-backed prosecutors and DAs all across the country, Congressman Donalds, including in the small town that I live in, that isn't prosecuting violent crime. So as a member of Congress, I know that you're trying to, Congressman Biggs told us that the Republicans on the Hill are trying to subpoena or get some answers from Alvin Bragg. They wanted him to come testify before Congress. A, do you think that'll happen? And B, how are you all going to deal with these increasing number of Soros-backed DAs that are allowing for violent crime across our country?
Well, look, first of all, Alvin Bragg needs to come in and answer questions, because especially what we've seen, this is a flat out joke. I mean, look, he has a resident of the state of New York who actually did violate federal law with respect to the Espionage Act, but he never seems to talk about her. That would be one Hillary Clinton. So he needs to come in and answer questions. And one of the other key things that we're trying to figure out is, do you have elements of our government who have demonstrated in the past that they do also want to just get Donald Trump? Or have they been leaking information, passing information, sliding stuff under the table? That's important information for Congress to understand as we try to find ways to get the federal government back on track and focused on its core mission, and not focus on all these other side jobs and all this mission creep that's happening up there.
Congressman Donalds, what I have here, I also want to talk about a bill that you recently introduced, which sounds like a no-brainer, honestly. It relates to targeting China's influence on the United States. It's called the Protect American Energy from China Act, and it would prohibit nuclear funding for China. Now, I guess I wasn't even really aware or had thought that we would be funding China related to nuclear capabilities, but tell us why you're doing this and exactly the status of this kind of funding to China right now.
Well, obviously, we just introduced a bill, and it's more than just pure funding. It's also memorandums of understanding that were executed under President Obama at the time, information sharing about commercial nuclear reactors, where you're building energy plants to deliver energy to people, so on and so forth. The reason we put the bill forward is China's our number one adversary on the globe. We shouldn't be sharing information or funding any with them at all. We definitely shouldn't be giving it to them. So this is one of the levers that House Republicans are looking at to try to decouple the United States as best we can from China. We have to be very clear that China right now is a very aggressive. They are trying to do everything they can to supplant the United States as the world superpower. It doesn't help when you have Democrats and, frankly, in my view, the president of the United States helping China supplant us as the world superpower. So House Republicans are going to take a firm stand to end these little side agreements like this, which only move to empower China and really do nothing for the United States.
Well, you would think after the pandemic specifically, and particularly also after the recent spy balloon news, which we now know they captured very sensitive information in the United States, you think this would already been reined in. So we have about 30 seconds, Congressman Donalds. Can you just help us understand how much collaboration and coordination regarding these memorandums of understanding is currently going on between our two countries?
You have that one. There are many others that we're reining in. Obviously, we know what was happening at the NIH, and I think Speaker McCarthy said it well yesterday, talking about it's time to pull back on their favorite trade status at the World Trade Organization. There are a lot of things that we need to be doing. We should have been doing them the last couple of years, but Joe Biden wanted to be focused on ridiculous spending in the Green New Deal, and so we're going to get back on track, and that's our focus.
Yeah, this will be an important bill to watch. Thank you so much, Congressman Donalds, for joining us today to talk about that and the ongoing saga related to Donald Trump. Thank you.
Anytime. Thank you.